Hi everyone, welcome to Code Global. To my returning subscribers, you're highly welcome. And to my new subscribers, you're highly welcome as well. So, welcome to this Python full course, part 4 of it. In this part 4, we are going to be seeing the list in Python, tuples in Python, sets in Python, dictionaries in Python. So, the class, is in session. Here we are going to learn how to code the right way. Become a Python developer for free. So just stick with me, guys. And remember to like this video as we go along to understand it, the class. Share with others, that it can help them. And also subscribe to this channel. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified whenever we upload new videos. And why not keep a comment in the comment section to tell me about your experience as you're practicing. So let's continue to understand going to be seeing the list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries in Python. But first of all, we are going to be understanding because the complex data types. We are going to be seeing the first one we are going to be seeing here is the list. So list refers to the collection of data which are normally related. If you want to keep related data, instead of storing this data as a separate variable, we can store them as a list. And one thing you need to keep in mind is to declare a list, you have to write the list, the name of the list. That is just a variable name that you're given for that list. And then you have to write the initial values for the list. So, and one thing also you should note is that we can give initial values for a list or we can also do what? We can also declare an empty list that is not having the initial values. And when you're declaring a list is always written in a square bracket. So you need to use a square bracket when declaring a list. And when you're declaring the list, the multiple values are separated by a comma. For example, we can see here there is a list we are having here, which is the user age. We are declaring this list, and we are declaring the list and given the initial values. So the values you're having is 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is just assume these are just different users that are using where we are given their ages here. And we can also declare a list without assigning any initial value. We are going to be seeing all these things as we are going to when we'll be working practically in our PyCharm to understand in our integrated development environment. So we can simply just give the name of the list and then we keep the empty square brackets. So what we have now is just an empty list that it has no initial values. And we can now append using the word. We can now append now using the append method that we are going to mention to understand how we can add items inside the list. And we are going to be seeing this practically to understand how it works. Let's head over. So coming now to our PyCharm, this is a list I've just declared. For example, we are having a list here which I've given the variable name to hold it as num. It's just having nums. It's just a variable, means that these are numbers that I'm just randomly declared here. So this is a list that we have defined the initial values of it. And as I said, a list is represented in a square bracket. Just be following my mouse on what I'm doing. It's represented in a square bracket. So with this is the list I've just declared, 23, 43, and with multiple lists, when you declare the numbers inside, you separate them with a comma. That is what we need to do. So let's say now we want to print this num to see this list, how it looks like. Just click the run. You see, when we click the run button, automatically, if you look at the output panel here, we are having, this is the list that we have just. This particular list is a list that we have just printed here. So this is what we are having as the output. Now, for example, we can be able to do some things on this particular list. There are a lot of things we can be able to do here, which we know how to do. We are going to. So now, let me see, for example, okay, I'm just going to uncomment this. The first one, we are printing the norm of 0. We know very well that this is just like an array. And we know the first position, 0 index simply means what? The 0 index means is the first. No, the first position, the 0 index. So if I run this list, if I print it again, this particular, you see, it's giving me at the index 0, the number we are having there in that particular list is 23. That is what we are having. And if I want to print, for example, I told you, if I say I want to print -2, what do you think is going to give us if I'm printing this? Remember when we were slicing the string slicing, we use things like this when we were working on previous class. So if you have not watched the previous classes, the previous recordings, because this is part 4 of this particular Python full course, then I'll advise you to please watch, because this is a playlist, and if you watch everything together, it is going to help you to become a full Python developer, to understand about Python, to be able to build full projects about it, cool applications, you know. So if I just run this particular application, look here, you see this -2. If I take -1, will give me the last number. If I want to get the last number in the list, the last object that is in that list, let me put it like this, because this is objects. I want to get the last object in my list. If I take -1, it's going to display the last object in that list automatically. If I take -2, it's going to display the last second object that is inside that list. That is why we are having here, we are having the 68. You can be able to do what? To be able to manipulate the list. And now, if in case I want to print the sum of all the objects in this list, like I want to get the sum of all these numbers inside this list, these are the objects, I want to get the sum. So I'm saying that print, I'm using the sum method as a sum of the nums. Remember, the nums is the variable that is holding the list. So if I run this particular piece of code, I'm going to have as 333. Meaning that if you add all of this, the sum of all of these numbers, the objects inside this list, is giving it. I'm mindful of you. This list is a list that is holding integer values. We can have lists that is holding strings. We are going to be seeing that. We can have lists that is holding both integer values and strings. So it depends on what you're putting in your list. So it just depends on what you're having inside your list. That is just it. So it doesn't matter whether you're having what inside, or is that you're having a list and you follow the way the list should be written. You get it? So for example, let's say here, okay, now this is to print the sum. And when I'm printing the sum, I'm saying the sum of the number. Look at what happened. Just see what is going to happen here. Can you see? What did I just say? Remember, each of these is having what? An index. Index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. So when I give 2, what am I trying to say? If you take now, for example, you want to minus to understand which number has gone out from here. Can you be able to tell which number has gone out of here? Exactly, you can be able to tell, isn't it? Meaning that we are able to do what from this particular position, we are saying that we want to get the sum excluding what? Excluding what is at this position in that list. We are excluding it. So excluding all of those things, starting from where we are starting at this position to get the sum. That is why starting from there, we can be able to get a sum. And also, we can be able to do what? We can manipulate it. We can be able to write it in a format that is going to look beautiful. For example, I said print the sum of num is, means I want to print the sum of this particular, the entire num list, because this list, the name of this list is a num. The num variable is holding it. So I want to print the entire sum of this num list. What is it I'm going to do? I can simply just decide I want to make it to look beautiful. I don't just want to print it like that. So if I run this particular piece of code, you see what is giving me here is telling me the sum of the nums is 333. That is what we want. You want to make it more readable and more understandable. You can be able to give it in this particular format. And also, in case there are various things we can also do with this. If I want to be able to print the highest marks, because assume these norms here, these are marks of students or a particular student. Let's say that particular student is having in the class, that particular student, or let's say in all the different subjects, let's say that student is having 7 subjects, and the subject, these are the marks that the student rank in. Let's say this marks are in percentage. So the student has, let's say for English, the person is having 23%. For French, the person is having 43%. For mathematics, the person is having 33. Physics, chemistry, computer science, all and so on. Economics, the person is having this marks percentage. So I want to know the highest mark that this particular student is having. So the highest mark this particular student is having, if I give this as a higher mark, is the marks. I used to use the marks function. So the marks of the norms is going to display the maximum value, the highest value the student is having. And if you can view here, the highest is 68 in this particular list. So the marks is 68. Let's say this was chemistry. So the person is having 68% in chemistry. And also, if I want to know the subject that this particular student is having the lowest marks, I want to know which subject is this student having the lowest marks. Is it possible to know? I need to use the min function. This min function is going to give it to me if I run this particular code. So you see what happened? It's telling me the lowest marks is 23. This is the 23 that the student is having. Maybe in economics, the student is having 23. Or it can be in a situation where these are averages for students in a particular class. In a particular class, in the various subjects, These are averages of these particular students. So we want to know the lowest average in the class, the student with the highest average, you can still able to get it. Hope this is clear. Let's continue. So now, this is another list that we are having here. We are having another list here. So the list we are having, oh, let me just a minute. So this is another list we are having. So if you see this list now, we are having the this one, the strings inside this particular list. It's holding strings, which is strings are the names of students. Assume in the class, let's say in the class, these are the names of the students in that class. We have Sonia, Vera, Sadiq, Nesh, Etel, Asma, Panya. So these are the names. If I print this name, if I run this particular code, you see it's going to print them because this is a list. And you know, a list is declared in a square bracket. These are the list of the students. Now let's try to maneuver with this list and see some things we can do with it. You know, some beautiful, cool stuff we can do. So now I say print type. I want to know. For example, I know it because now we already know this is a list. A list is written in the square bracket. We know very well that when you see something written like this and it is in the square bracket, we know it is a list. But now, let's say for somebody, maybe the person who had no idea, I want to be able to know, like for me to be able to understand, to know whether what is this? You get it? Now, for me to know the type of this particular name variable, what this variable is holding, because I want to know, like for somebody that does not know, want to know whether is it a tuple, is it a dictionary, is it a list, or what is it? Is it a set? You just need to print what print. You need to use the type function. You see the type and then pass the name of the variable. When I run this, it is going to tell us class list to make you to understand that this is a list. That the class is a list to tell you that this is a list. And also, we can be able to do what we can be able to maneuver it. We can be able to work with. If I say I want to print the name, I want to print what in this particular name list. I want to print the value, this in the particular object that is inside this list, the negative one object. We know, obviously, we know when we give this negative one object, when I run this, is going to give us the last object in that particular list. And if you look at the last object here is a pioneer. It's going to give us the last object in this particular list. And also, if I give like this, we saw this also, we know how to do all of this now. I want to know the particular at this particular position to the end. Means that at this particular position to the end of the list, I want it to be printed. So what do you think is going to give us? Okay, let's run the piece of code and see. So it's going to print us from position 2. We say from that position, and when it's position 2, this is position 2. So from that position 2, which is Sadiq, because this is 0, 1, and then 2. From there, it's going to print to the end of the list. That is what it is going to print. Okay, let me just change this. So I just changed the output panel to make it more visible and easy for you to see the way I want it. Because since we are having longer this piece of the output is a little bit longer, so it's better for me to bring it this way. So if you see like what we are having here, like printing it directly. So here we are standing in this piece of code. So what happened? It is printing from where? From the second. This is the second, which is Sadiq, Nesh, Etel, Asma, Pranya. So it has printed from there to the end. Now, I want to be able to know, I'm given some constraint. We are given some constraint that we want to print from this list. I want to print for position 2, but I want to end at 4. Means that what? Position, I want to print at what? This position 2 end at 4 means that it's 1 less, isn't it? Means that what are we going to have as output? If we run this piece of code, if you look at it, we are going to have what? We're going to have Sadiq and Nash because it's going to print. When you say to 4 means it's going to, from what we studied, I explained this in the previous class very clear, very, very well. It's going to print 1 less. Means when I say 2 to this 4 means it's going to print 2 and 3. That is what it's going to print, position 2 and position 3. So, and then if I want to print the second last object in this particular list, the second last object in the list, all I need to do if I give this means that if I say run this, look at what is going to happen. Look at the output. I'm saying that from this till the second last object. Can you see? Means print everything you're printing till the second last object. If you look now, you discover that inside this particular list that we are having, this is the original list that we are having. The original list we are having. Now look what it has printed. See, it has printed till, get it till here. That is beautiful, right? And remember what I said also, we can be able to use what? Methods. We can be able to use even methods with lists. Like for example, we want to append. Let's say I want to append. I'm using the append method to be able to append a particular word. If because inside our list, the list we are having now, if you look here, it ended at Pragna. We're having how many students are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 students in this particular list. Now I want to add. Let's say a new student has just entered the class, and I want to append the name of the student. The name of the student is Love. We need to add this student to the list of the class. So I want to append. So I want to add this student. We use the append method, which is append. It's an append method. So I'm going to pass the name of that particular student. And when we run this piece of code, if you look at it, look at what happened now. So the name dot append, this name dot append, and then the next thing we need to do is that what we need to print the new list. If we print it, look at what happened. If I print now, they say, well, the list after I have appended it, let's print. We've just appended it. Let's print it after we have appended it. Now look at it, you see. Now we are having, look in the output panel, we are having what? Love. This is love that has been appended to it, which is beautiful, isn't it? That is good because that is what we want. We have appended love to this name. Means that the new list now we are having is no more 7. We're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 students in that class. So there are 8 students now in the class. So we can be able to extend the list also. If we want to extend the list, then we use the extend method. So name.extend. So I'm given this extend method. So means I'm saying that word. And then if I want to print now the list now to see, I've extended it. I'm giving the name.extend because as from now, this is what our list look like. This is a new list, isn't it? Look in the output panel, follow my mouse. You're going to understand it. As now, this is what our new list looks like. So now I want to append Bia and Risa to this particular list. How do I need to use the name dot extend? I want to extend the list. If I want to append, I need to take the name dot append because the name is the name of the variable that is holding the list. So name dot append means the append method I'm using the extend method. So if we run this particular piece of code, now what are we going to have? If you look at it now, we have appended it very well. You see, we are now having the Bia and the Risa. So meaning we are having 10 students in this class. So 2 extra students are have been added in the class. Now there's another thing. If in case now we want to insert a particular student, let's say a student where we wrote a name of a student, we want to insert that a particular object because that name is an object. So I want to insert at a particular position. Now I'm saying that because we know at index 1, we are having what? At index 1, we are having the particular student. Index 1, if you look in our particular list, index 1 is Vera. This index 0, index 1 is Vera. Now I'm saying that is at index 1, I want to insert what? I want to pen now but Mary. I don't want to keep that Vera. I want to keep the Mary in this index 1. Now, you see, this is what I'm doing. I'm just like saying, and this is what we are trying to do here. And also, I am saying that I'm also at the same time, I'm saying at index 5, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At index 5, I want to insert what? John. Means I'm inserting new values there. New objects. So let's print it now. Let's print the name. Let's print the list now to see. Let's print that particular list. So I run the code. So let's look at the list now. Look at it now. Index 1, I append Mary. Can you see now? Instead of Vera, we are having the Mary at index 1. And at index 5, instead of Asma before that we had, I am now having the what? No, we're having this. I'm now having the John. Can you see what we are having? It's John I'm having now. And then let's say, for example, I want to be able to, let's say I want to remove, okay. Let's say I want to be able to, let me see, do I have this thing in my list? Okay. Let's say, okay. Look at it. Let's say this particular student Asma is no longer in the class. It's no more coming to school. It's no more there. So it's no more like the student withdrew from the school. You know, so I want to remove now. It's no more in our class. So we need to remove that particular student from the list. So what should I do? I just need to use the remove method. So name the remove. If I print the new list, you're going to see that the new list is going to be now without Asma. So let's run the piece of code and see. You see? Now look, this is it here. If we look at it, before we had Asma in the previous one, now we see we don't have Asma anymore. Directly, Pragna, Asma has been removed from the list. And also, is it possible that I can be able to reverse this particular list? Yes, to reverse the list, we just need to use what the reverse method. You get it? If I want to reverse a list, I need to use the reverse method to be able to reverse a list. So if I say name the reverse, and then if I print this particular list, I'm reversing it, meaning that instead of us having a string, we know our string start from what? From Sonia to the end. What happened now we're going to see the reverse of it. Let's print this particular list and see. Now look at what happened in this output panel. I'm just going to bring it up. Look, this is the previous list that we had. It's like this. So, and the last value we had in this list was Risa that we extended, isn't it? Now look at what has happened. It has reversed it. Now Risa is the last. So the second to the last has come, third to the last, fourth. Now, if you see this first name now here is now the last name here. The second is now the second to the last. You see, it has reversed the list for us. We use the reverse method to be able to reverse the list. Simple as that isn't it? Just as simple as ABC. Now, let's say I want to pop out. I want to pop out something. I want to use a pop method using what the name dot pop to go to pop. And I'm going to show you something that is very beautiful here for you to see. I'm using the pop method. If I run this, look at what happens. Look at what happens. Remember, we are working with this particular reverse string. The reverse string is today. I want to pop. Now look at what happened. What was the first? It's going to, whenever you're popping, it's going to pop the last value, the last object that is inside a particular list. Now we are still working. This is the list that we are having, the reverse list that we are having here, because I didn't comment anything, I didn't close it, so it is going to work on. Remember, Python, it works on line by line, it runs the code. So meaning that this is our new list that we are working on. This is a new list that we are currently working on. So what happened? You see, it has popped out Sonia. So we are having what? We are having only Mary. So Mary at the end. Sonia is gone. We are left with Mary. So we popped out Sonia. If you want to pop as many as possible, that is your choice. Now, if in case I want to sort, if you look at our list, if you look at this list, it is not in the alphabetical order. The list is just the names inside are just randomly kept. If I want to sort them in order, then I need to use the sort method. I just need to use the sort method. So if I say name.sort, so if I just open this, the name.sort, and then I print, means I'm sorting that particular word, that particular name list. Because the name of our list is name. So if I print this, look at what happened. Can you see it has organized? This is the previous list that we had. Now it has organized it for us. It has tried to sort it out for us to be able to get how it can sort the list for us, which is beautiful, using the sort method. So now, if I want now, for example, now I say, I want to sort, I say the reverse should be 2. How I want to sort it? Now look at what is going to happen. Let's run it. We are printing the same list. Look at what happened. Can you see? It brought it back the way it was before. So you see, we have Vera, Sadiq, Pranya, Nesh, Mary. How one, the reverse is true. It brought it back for us to have the list in the right way. It's beautiful, right? That's great. So that is all. This is the second part of it. And if you have not, I hope this is clear, everything here on how to work with this and how to manipulate the list. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, let's rock together. And while you're watching, please don't forget to keep a like in this video. Like the video, just click the thumbs up to like the video. You can share with others. And please don't be that kind of person that watch part of it at the beginning and you don't finish to the end, because at the end there's something very, very exciting at the end. Try to watch this particular video to the end, because by watching to the end, you're going to get all the knowledge and you're going to build yourself, because it gets interesting as we go further. To go to the end, it gets interesting. So you can subscribe, you can share to others, and you can share to all your social media platforms. Thank you so much. Let's continue with this, our plans. So the next thing we are going to be seeing is how to copy and pen. Now, I even forgot to show you how you can be able to remove multi-line comment and add multi-line comment. So you just need to do what? Just select the part you want. If you want to uncomment at the same time, then you need to click on, you just press Control// on your keyboard. Automatically you have uncomment everything. And if you want to comment everything, just press Control// and everything you're going to comment it again. So if you want to do everything at one go, at one shot. So because we don't want to do that now, because I'm going to be putting one at the time so we want to understand what it means. So now, what is it that we want to do here? Copy and append. Yeah, now we're using this particular list. We want to, the list here, I've declared a list that is numbers. Numbers one, that's the name of the list. And in this list, I've given some random values inside the list. These values can be anything depending on what you're working on. And now I said, now I'm coming here, I'm now doing what I'm now declaring a second list, and I'm saying this particular second list, I want to copy the values of this first list into this second list. So this is another way you can be able to copy and append. So I want to copy and append. I want to copy the values in here. First of all, I copy the values that are inside here into this second list that is number 2. So how do I do that? I need to take number 1 dot copy. It's going to copy it for me. And when I copy it, what is it that I want to do? Let's say if in case now I want to print now to be sure about the number 2. If you want to print number 1 list, you can be able to print. If you want to see the content of number 2 list, if I just say print, if I say print, if I print this number 2, listen, remember we declare and assign only the list only to number 1. And now I'm saying I want to take the number 2 to be number 2 list. I want it to copy the values in number 1 list and give it as in number 2. So let's run this code. You see, if you look at it, you see number 2 list, this is what we are having. Also, is having the same thing. It has copied it and has given it to the number 2 to numbers 2. So number 2 list is having the same value now as number 1 list, because we just said it should what? Copy it and give it to us. Now, it has copied it. Now, what we want to do now is this. I want to be able to append. So you should be able to be sure that this is what we are having. Because now I'm saying that I want to append in this append now this number one list. I want to append what? 12 to it. So if I want to append 12 to it, and if I print this number 1 list, now before that even, let me just comment this number 2 list. I'm going to comment it. This append here. Let's print and you see both the lists. You see, we are having both. This is number 1, numbers 1 list, and numbers 2 list. It copied here and it brought to this. Now, what I want to do now is that I want to be able to append in numbers 1 list, because the name of the variable I gave is numbers 1. So if I want to append there, meaning that if I run this code now, look at what happens. Look at the difference now. This is numbers 2 list and this is numbers 1 list, to show you the difference, to show that these are 2 different lists. Can you see how beautiful it is? Hope this is clear. This is how you can be able to do what? To copy and be able to append in a list. So we are going to also be seeing how we can use we can be able to do what? To see how we can use the for loop in working with lists. For example, we have the particular list that is names. Let's see, where is that list? Let's see. So now we are having this particular list that is named. This is a list we are having here. And also we are having what? We want to see how we can use the for loop, how we can work with the for loop in the list. So now look at what we are having here. So this is the name. Now what I want to do is I say for name in name, what I want to do, I want to print hi, then name means that what it is going to tell me. I want the output to be hi Sonia, hi Vera, hi Sadiq, hi Nash, hi Ete, hi Asma, hi Pranya. So we are going to be seeing how we can use the for loop. Don't worry about that if you don't understand too much about looping, as there's still a class for looping that we are going to understand very clearly. For now, just try to understand how this just about the list, how we can work with lists. So if I run this piece of code, look at what is going to happen. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Vera. Hi, Sadiq. We use the loop, to iterate. You get it? We want to do the same thing over and over. We have to work with it. We work with the loop. So you see how beautiful it is, and we can also do more cool stuff with the with this thing. More cool stuff with this thing, our loop. Now we are going to see. I'm just going to, for example, I'm just going to do what? I'm just going to comment this. I want to comment all. Just press Control on your keyboard and /. Now what we are going to be doing is this. See, on using also the for loop in our list, supposed to use the for in our list. So we are going to find the largest number in a list. This particular list, we have numbers. Now these numbers, using the for, because we already saw how we can use the max function to find the largest number in a list. I already explained that before in the first, I think it was the first or second examples that I showed you today. So now what we are going to be seeing is, I want to use now by the loop, I want to use what? Use the loop, the for loop, to be able to do the same thing. That is what I want to do. You get it? So now using the for loop to be able to look for the max number. So what happens is I want to get the max of this number. So for me to get it, I say for, I'm declaring it. I say for numbers, for number in numbers. Remember in these numbers, which is holding this list. I say it, then I'm given a condition here. The condition I'm giving here is this. I'm saying that if the number is greater than max, remember, if the number is greater than max, then what should happen? I'm just opening it in this format. If the number is greater than max, then the max is equals to the number. Means that if that particular number is greater than the maximum number, then the maximum number is that number. I'm assigning that number to the maximum number. I hope this is clear. I repeat again. I'm declaring a particular list here. I want to find the largest number in the list. Now, find this largest number using what? The loop. Using the for loop. I'm saying that I'm saying the max number. I'm giving a max variable. I'm assigning the numbers from this in this, the zero index. Right. And I'm saying for numbers in numbers, for number in numbers, I'm saying if I'm using a conditional statement, we are going to understand this if later, the if statements to understand. But just try to understand the piece of code. If the number is greater, the particular number we are looking for here, if it is greater than max, is greater than what this max is holding, you get it? Then the max is equals to the number. Then that means that is the maximum number. Print the max. Let's run this piece of code and see. You see, which is 15. And if you look in here, I'm just going to collapse this. If you look in here, you see that what the maximum number we are having here is 15. This is how you can be able to look for the maximum number in a particular list using the for loop. So coming here, this is another program where we want to we want to remove the duplicate in our list. Now, for example, we are having a list here. This is the list I've declared. The list is numbers. The name of the list is numbers. It's holding values here. I believe here we are having values that are duplicated. You know, we have duplicate values. You see, like 2 is appearing twice, 3 is appearing twice. We have 4 also. We have, 4 is appearing how many times? 3 times. So what we need to do, we need to use a unique. Unique means that what we have to declare a unique list that I want it to be able to give me in this unique list. What I want is that this is a new list I'm declaring. Remember what I told you? A new list, you can be able to declare a list without an initial value. I'm saying this list unique means that what in this list I want only unique values. I don't want duplicate values. Numbers is a list that is having duplicate values. No, I don't want those duplicate values. I want to be able to remove that. We are still using what the for loop. So I say for number in numbers, what I'm saying, I say if the number is not equal to, is not unique. If number not in uniques, what happened? Unique dot append number. You get it? Means that it is going to what append the number in the unique. So what happened? And they say unique dot sort. And then we are going to print it. Means that what it should go to filter only the unique values. Let's run this piece of code. You see the outcome. You see now? It has sorted it out and it has what? It removed only the unique values. Means that all the duplicate values are gone. We don't have any duplicate value there anymore. They are gone. So now we are also going to be seeing how we can remove the duplicate from a list. This is another way in which you can be able to remove it and make it more readable for us to understand. Now, I want to be able to see both the two strings, both the two lists. I want to see both the old and the new. So, for example, I'm having a list here. This is a list. The variable name I've given you is just list. It's holding this particular list. These are the objects in the list. And there are a lot of duplicate objects there. What I want to do is I want to remove these objects. So now the first print statement I'm given is to print the original list as it is. One thing you understand is that I've typecast. Remember we did typecasting, right? So type conversion. So because you cannot concatenate an integer. This list is holding integer values. You cannot concatenate a string and an integer value. So what I've just done is I need to typecast it by giving the str. This is the string, which is for to typecast this particular list into a string. So to concatenate it using the concatenation symbol, which is a plus symbol. Then I'm declaring another list here, which is empty. This is list 1, the second list. This second list is going to hold all the unique values. So I say for I in list, I say if I not in list 1, then it should append it in list 1. Means it has to come here and traverse in here and be looking. If you take 1, it appends here. If it comes now, even if you encounter another 1, if this one is already in list 1, it will not give it again. it will go now to 2. It will put 2. If it will keep on traversing like that. That's how the for loop will go. It will be traversing and searching. And the condition we have given here. Meaning that when you put 2 here, it will no more put 2 again. It will go now to look for 3. That is how it will traverse the whole list until it finally picks all of the unique values to put here. There's a print now the list after removing the duplicate. With this, is going to help you to understand better. And what is the list? Removing the duplicate, I want to print this particular list, and remember we are concatenating it because the list is an integer. So let's run it and see. You see, look at it very well. This is the original list that we had with all the duplicate values. Now we have traversed, we use the loop now, we have traversed in here with the condition we gave. Now it has filtered this list and it took the unique values, only the unique values. It has given us the unique values, which is beautiful. So this is it for list today. We are going to enter the next thing, so the next thing we are going to be seeing today is the tuple. So tuples, some call tuples, some call tuples. It's just the same. So tuples are just like lists, but you cannot do what? You cannot modify their values once they are being initialized. Once you have declared a tuple, you have initialized it, you cannot modify it anymore. That's the difference between a list and a tuple. And the initial values are the values that will stay for the rest of the entire program. That is one thing you need to know about tuples. An example where tuples are useful is when your program needs to store the name of the month of the year, because those are things that will never change. And one thing you need to put in mind is that when you're declaring tuple, you write the name of the tuple. You give a tuple name. You have to write the values. The objects of that tuple are in round bracket. Remember, with our list was in square bracket. But when it comes to a tuple is written in a round bracket. Notice that we use the round bracket when declaring a tuple. And multiple values are separated by a comma, just like how we have in list. For example, we have here month of the year. We have January, February, March, and no, these are strings. That's why we're having them in quotes. January, February, March, April, May, and you can continue the list. That is how we can be able to. So let's go to our pie chart to see how we can be able to understand this. So tuples, as I said, the tuples are written in round bracket. You put the objects inside. For example, this is the tuple we have just declared here, which is language. The tuple, the name is, we have given a variable that is language. This language is holding French, German, English, Polish. So these are tuples. So if I print this particular piece of code here, you're going to see we are going to have it. This is the tuple, and the tuple is represented in a round bracket. And as I said, once you have declared your tuple, you have given the initial value of it, you cannot change it in the entire program. It stays the same. That is why we always give things that will never change. Now, for example, the same thing we did when we were working with list to check. We want to know the one at the 0 index. If I run the code, it's French, which is the first one at the 0 index. The same thing. It's still the same thing. It doesn't change. If we want to know the one at the -1 index, means the last. It's going to give us the last, isn't it? The last object in that particular tuple. So if I take in this format, if I run the code, so you see we are having, which is Polish. It's the same thing. You get it? It is going to give us the same thing. And even if I want to know also print the language at this in the language, I want to print the one at the second position. It's going to give me the same thing. Also, it's going to give me the one at the second position. Remember, when you mean second position, what does that mean? You see, English, because this is at position 0, index 1, and index 2, which is English that we are having there. Hope it is clear. This is about tuples. Tuples are very, very easy for us to understand, and you cannot change it. There are things that we cannot do with it, like how we say we want to change, like what we say we did with list, how we're manipulating all those things. We cannot do that. And the next thing we are going to be seeing is what? We are going to be seeing is sets. Understanding what a sets. Set also is just what? Just as we are having tuples, we are having a list, we are having also what we are having is a set. Now, when it comes to a set is declared in a flowery bracket, the curly bracket. This curly bracket is what we use to declare a set. We declare a set in a curly bracket. You get it? This flowery bracket. So, if you look at what we are having, I'm having two sets of numbers here. I'm having set A and set B. I'm having one, just like how we have in mathematics. We are having the set of numbers, set of A, values of B. So if I say print, now what am I saying? I'm saying that it should print just like how we do in mathematics, A or B. So if I click on this, if I run this particular code, You see? Okay, let me just comment the other part so that it's not going to disturb because it's still open. So if I run this piece of code, you see this is the set of it. It's giving us that combined. A or B means that what are we doing? We are combining both the sets. Isn't it? It means that it's going to combine, and we know when it combines, it take only unique numbers, right? It's like how we have A union B in mathematics. That is the same way this is working. This is just the same. This symbol is working like the A union B in maths that we are having. Then if I want to print only what, for example, only the ones that are interceding, the intersection A and B, you know, say A, and means that only the ones that are common in both. If you look here, you see that the only one that is common here is 4, isn't it? 4 is common in A and common in B, and that is the N. In mathematics, we have the N. So A and B means that what we are printing only the intersection, the one that is common in both of it. So if I run this piece of code, you see, we are going to have it. It selects it, which is a 4 for us. Hope you're understanding. And if you're understanding, remember to keep a like in this video and share with others so they can also gain the knowledge. And also subscribe to the channel and comment and leave a comment in the comment section to tell me your experience. So we see here, the next thing is that we want to print what I'm saying that word to understand. There's something you need to understand here. Just the same way we are having in mathematics. If I say I want to print A minus B, and I'm going to show the both so I can be able to see, and B minus A, these are two different things. Means I'm saying set A minus set B. If you're saying set A minus set B, means you're saying that I'm taking the elements of set A and I'm minusing the ones that are common in the elements in set B that are also in set A, isn't it? And if I'm taking set B, means I'm saying I'm taking the elements in set B and I'm minusing the ones that are in set A. Now let's run this piece of code, you see. So you see A set B, what was common in set A that was in set B was 4, so it minus the 4. What was in set B that was in set A, the same thing, it has minus it, minus it. That's why you see they're having two different values, two different numbers for the two sets. And then the next thing we are having is what? We are using now, we have a method to say what dot add. If I want to add a particular element in a set, I can use the dot add method. So if I want to say, I say a dot add means in that A, in this set A, I want to add what? Element 5. I want to add a 5. That is an element. You get it? And then let's print, when we add it, then let's try to what? We use the dot add method. We use the add method to do that. If you want to add, use the A dot and to use the add method. So if I print the set of A, look at what happens. You see, A before set A was what? Before set A was 1, 2, 3, 4. But now set A is having 5, which is beautiful, right? Yeah, that is beautiful. That is why programming is very beautiful. And coming with Python, Python is very, very easy to understand. And it's like English language, which is very beautiful, right? So I hope you're loving coding. You're loving it. You just need to understand everything about it. And in case you want to do what, we also want to update. If I want to update, I just need to do what? If I'm taking a particular set A, I want to update 6 and 7. If you look here, set A does not have 6 and 7, isn't it? It ends with 5 because I've added 5 here. If I want to make it to have 6 and 7, what should I do? All I need to do is to use the update method. So if I say dot update and I'm just printing what? I'm just printing this. This set A. So if I click this to run the code, you see, now set A is also having 6 and 7, which is beautiful, right? So that is how we can be able to have set, be able to work with set in our Python. So what is the essence of knowing this? The essence of you is to learn to understand all these things so that when you're writing, you're building a particular application and you have things to do that you need some particular things to do, you know what to do. It's just like English language, just like writing, learning how to write. You know, in English language, you know about the various tenses, the various speech, part of speech, all those things. Exactly. The vowels, exactly. That is what it happens. So the last thing we are going to be seeing today in our today's class is dictionary. So we need to understand what are dictionaries in Python, and a dictionary is just a collection of data pairs, of related data pairs. That is one thing that's so beautiful. For instance, if we want to do what we want to store the username and the age of 5 users or maybe 5 students or whatever we want to do, you know, we can store them in a dictionary. Means we are going to be having the key and a value. That is one thing about it. It's having the key and the value, or the key and the data. So to declare a dictionary, you write the dictionary name and then it's equal to, you have to write it in a flowery bracket also, the curly bracket or the flowery bracket. So you need to give the dictionary key, you need to give the key and the data, or the key and the value. With the requirement, you know, with the requirement that the dictionary keys must be unique. Meaning that you cannot have two dictionary key in one dictionary. No, the dictionary keys must be unique. The values, the data can be the same, but the keys can be unique. It's just, for example, in a class, we are having students, they got different names. So the names of the students are all student ID. Student ID. The student ID, the ID numbers are unique. You will never find two students with the same student ID in the school or in the university. Their ID numbers are different. And they might have the same marks. For example, they can write a test, and let's say 10 of the students are having 100%. That is the data. 100% pass in that test is the data. But the what would distinguish them is a key, which is their student number or the student names. And that is, you cannot do what you cannot declare a dictionary like my dictionary, and then you're having, for example, you have Peter is 38, means that Peter is having 38, John is having 51, and again you have another Peter is having 13. No, it doesn't work like that because the key has to be unique. Peter are keys. So you have to use, if you have two Peters in your class, then you have to use their second name or their surnames to distinguish them. Note that we can use curly braces when declaring a dictionary, and multiple pairs are separated by a comma. If you have noticed, you see that all the various the complex data types are all we have seen. They are always separated by comma. So, for example, you see an example here we are having is the username and age. We are just saying the username and age. You are passing the username and age. Let's say these are students in the college, or maybe users in a particular application that they are logging in to work in the application or whatever it is, or data at the hospital. So I'm saying that Peter is 38 years old, John is 51 years old, Alex is 13 years old. Alvin decided not to specify the age because people go online, they don't want to give maybe they don't want to give the information. So let's head over to our PyCharm and try to understand all about dictionaries and understand how it works. So here is the dictionary we are having. This is a dictionary person, and this person is having what? We are saying the name is Jack, the age is 26, the salary is 4,531, dollars. 0.2 cents. So that is what we are having. So what are we trying to say here? This dictionary is having all an information about one person. And having the information about one person, instead of going to be specifying person, name, give the or name variable, write the name, age variable, write the age, salary variable, write the salary. We can combine everything at one go using a dictionary, which is beautiful. So now, if I want to print this particular person, means I should be able to do what if I run this particular piece of code, you see this is the name of the person is Jack, the age is 26 years old, the salary is this. Now, let's see something more. Let's see something that is much more interesting. Let's say, for example, I want to just print what? I want to just get only the age of this particular person. Means the person which is the Jack, right? This is the person because it's just a variable we give this person that is holding this dictionary person. So I want to know only the age. I want just the age of this particular person. If I run this piece of code, it's going to tell me the age is 23. So you see, you can filter only that age and give it to me, which is beautiful. And if I want only the name of that particular person, is it okay for me to get the name? Yes, I can be able to get the name. So you see, and if I want to get only the salary of the person also, that person dictionary, I can be able to get it. And you get it. So if I click here, if I run this particular piece of code, you see, this is the age, this is the name, which is Jack, and the salary range. This is the salary we're having here. And also, what we can do also is this. If I want to go to get now what, for example, I want to add the address of this particular person. The person lives in Texas, lives in Texas. So I want to go to add it. So, and then I'm printing what? I'm printing what? The person. If I run this code, you see, it's saying that what? I've just added, look what I've added here. Because before we didn't have the address. So I've just added this address inside the particular dictionary. So the person name is Jack, the age is 26, salary is this, and the address is that the person lives in Texas, which is beautiful, isn't it? And then now, if in case I want to be able to do what? To delete the age of this person, I just need to use the del keyword to say delete person and specify the age. And then if I print this, you're going to see that we have deleted the age. Let me just run the code. Can you see the age is gone? This age is no longer existing. This is the new dictionary. The age is no longer there. Hope this is clear. Excited about it? Let's see another dictionary here. So here we are having a customer. In that customer, we are having on the customer database how we have put everything. The name of the customer, you're having a customer dictionary here. We have given the name as John Smith. The age is 25 and is verified true. Is verified to be a true that all the information the customer is having is true. They are correct. So I say the customer birthday, I'm giving it. This is the birthday where I'm passing it. And the customer name, we're passing it. This is it. And I'm saying print customer's name. So let's run this code for you to be able to see. You see, it's printing the name, which is Jazz Blank. That we are printing here is Jazz Blank. And then now I'm saying, I say print now the customer dot the get birthday. So I want to get, I'm using the get function to be able to get the birthday. So you see, it's going to give us the birthday. What this is there. Can then from there, you can then get in and send your message, say happy birthday. You know, can send you a message to say happy birthday. And then we have another one here. So here we have a dictionary. The dictionary is to translate characters from a phone number to a word. It should translate the characters from a phone number to a word. So the phone number, we say input the phone. We are this is the piece of code. And then the digit mapping, we are taking another variable. Say digit mapping means that what once you enter 1, 2, 3, 4, it should also be typing what 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be giving it to us. Means that as the numbers are going, it will be typing, it will give it in text. So the output is that we are going to have it for character in this in for character represented by ch in phone. We say output. We say we are doing what we are prefixing it. So digit mapping dot get. We want to get the characters, and as you are getting it means that you should also then if the ones don't have, you should put what? You should put the ones that are not here. You should put what as it's coming in. You should put question exclamation symbol to them, and we are concatenating it. You know, with the empty space. So print now the output. Look at what happened here. Just see what happened. I run this particular piece of code. Now enter the phone number. I'm going to enter the phone number. I look at the output panel. Just look at this output panel here. So the phone number here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's have given like that. Look at what happened. You see, it's giving us 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the one that you see, the ones that we didn't give, we specified that you should go to give what? You should go to give what? For the ones that are not there, 1, 2, 3, it should give us 1, 2, it should give us exclamation sign. Now look at this. Let's say, for example, the number, let's say, I'm just giving for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you see, it's going to add the numbers that are not there. You say 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to prefix them with what? With a exclamation sign. It adds it. Can you see? It's cool, right? That is how it is. You know, I say rock with me. I'm going to show you cool stuff for you to understand, enjoy Python and enjoy programming. That's how beautiful you can be able to do. You watch, you use games, you see things like this every day. You do. You see them. You don't understand how it works. I'm going to teach you how it works. So this is another dictionary that we can see here. Example, the dictionary names of a particular LCB, this in College area. This is a key. This is the Royal Challenge New York. And then the students, as I told you about students' ID and the names. So 101 is Lois, 102 is Fresh, 103 is Nesh, and 104 is Isma. So print now. The first thing is to print the names. So now what I want to do is I don't want to just print. Look at how we can filter. What I'm trying to do is to show you how you can also use the dictionary to be able to filter. Now I want to filter, I want just the names. I don't want the keys. I don't want the mix. So if I want to print here, it's going to give me what? It's going to give me just the names. Let me just comment this so it'll be easy for you to understand what I'm saying. I want just the names. So if I run this particular piece of code, you see, I'm having it here. This is it here. So I'm printing. So just this is going to give me everything because this is the name dictionary that I'm printing. So it's going to give me everything. Now look at what is going to happen here. Look at what is going to happen. Now, let me just collapse this. Now it has printed these names, means that it's printed everything to me. Now I want to print now a particular name. I want to print a particular student that is having the ID. I want to filter this student by the ID number. The ID is 102. So it means that what it should be able to give me just the student that is having the ID 102. And I print, you see, which is Asma. That particular student is Asma with the ID. If you look here, 102. Is here 102 is Asma because why? That's to make you to understand. As I told you, this was just a mistake here. It will not take. It always be the key should be unique. Let me say 104. So you see, it has to come to the last one because right now it's line by line. It came to the last one, so you picked it. This is asthma. Now, let's say I want to print also. I want to print the length of these names. I want to, how many students are there? How many of them are there? The length. Means you count it and tell me the number of them. If I run this code, you see there are five. Means from here, this is the first one. Don't forget about the college one. And then two, three, four, five. It's beautiful, right? Then the last thing we are going to also be seeing here is a situation where it's a situation where we are going to be having not only so the key and now that key is having the list. For example, we are having students in the class. Now I'm not just having individuals, I'm now having pair, now the subjects. So you see a list in a dictionary. This is not a list in a dictionary. This is a list in a dictionary. So this listener is the value or the data, and then this is the key. So I'm saying that in that particular class, the students, these are the subject English, math, science, and socials. Social. So now the students in English, these are the marks. Let's say there are four students in this class. The students' marks in English, this is it. The student marks in math, in science, and in social. So now I'm saying for K in in the student dot keys, I want to get the keys. Now I want to print only the keys. And now for V, I'm saying that this K represent what? The keys. Now the V is in student represent the values. I want to print only the values. Now look at what happened. Let me just comment this, or let me just leave it. It's okay. You still understand. You guys still understand. I run this piece of code. Now look at it. The first one is to print only what the keys. These are the keys. The second one is to print all of the values. These are the values. It's beautiful, right? Hope this is clear. So with this, we have finally come to the end of this class about understanding the list, understanding what the tuples, understanding sets, and understanding dictionaries in Python. So go through it, practice it, because when you understand all these things, when we start doing the projects, it will be easy for you to understand what we are when we are using some particular things. Which is beautiful. I've made it so simple with a lot of examples. And if you have not yet liked this video, what are you still waiting for that you have not liked? Please click the like button, and also please subscribe to this channel. Sorry about that. Subscribe to this channel and share with your family, share with your friends, share with your colleagues, share with everyone, your classmates, to understand, to enjoy this. And also, don't forget to keep a comment in the comment section, because we are going to, and then look forward for the part 5 of it. The part 5 of it, we are going to be discussing about the if statement, everything you need to know about the if statement. So thank you so much. I am Nash. I still remain your humble instructor that is going to be taking you through all this course. I'm going to take you through all the Python program to fully understand everything about Python. So see you in the part 5 of it. Thank you so much. Bye.